Before I was 8 years old, I was the happiest child in the world. I had loving and indulgent parents and a childhood friend who cherished me. But after turning 8, I fell from the clouds into hell. Everything started to change when my parents took me to participate in activities at an orphanage. That day, besides my parents, my childhood friend Ta Tham also joined us. From a young age, we were inseparable. Wherever I was, he was sure to be there. We handed out gifts to the children at the orphanage together. But there was one little girl who caught my eye. She seemed very lonely, standing afar watching. She had a demeanor that was mature beyond her years, showing neither interest nor competition with others her age. I thought she was shy, so I decided to give her a gift. Ta Tham, dressed in a small suit, sternly stopped me. Bao Bao, don't wander off carelessly, or you might get kidnapped. Annoyed, I retorted, Smelly Ta Tham, you're the one who'll get kidnapped, not me, I'm not a 3-year-old child. Call me a brother. Ta Tham pinched my cheek, if you don't, I won't let you go. Reluctantly, I called him a brother, but he shook his head unsatisfied. That's not right, try again. Helpless, I looked over at Mom for help, my eyes pleading and accusing Ta Tham. Mom laughed softly, waving her hand, Bao Bao, even I can't control your ta-ta. I sighed, softened my voice, and pleaded with Ta Tham, brother, I won't wander off, please let me go. A smile crept up Ta Tham's lips, I'll go with you. Quickly, I declined, no need, you stay here and help me distribute the gifts. Saying that, I ran off. I approached the little girl and handed her the gift. Hi, my name is Diep Hoan Nhan, you can call me Nhan Nhan, and this is a gift for you. She glanced at the item in my hand, took it, then stared intently at my face. The somber little face suddenly broke into a smile. My name is Tang Ninh, can we be friends? Her smile made me a bit uncomfortable, but I courteously agreed. Her cold hands grasped mine, her face full of joy. Nhan Nhan, thank you for the gift, can I invite you to see a puppy I'm raising? It's very cute and can even count. Just one sentence ignited my interest. Excitedly, I turned to her, really? Seeing her nod, I eagerly replied, I want to see it. I glanced back at Ta Tham, thinking of asking him to come along, but saw he was busy helping with gift distribution. Moreover, Ta Tham was clean and didn't like pets. So I gave up on inviting him. Before long, Tang Ninh and I arrived at a shabby little room. Opening the door, a foul smell erupted, with a sickly white puppy lying on the floor. Its paws were blooded as if its nails had been violently torn off. Adorable, isn't it? A gloomy voice came from behind. Tang Nin's expression had changed, and it was then I sensed danger. I wanted to run, but was immobilized and voiceless. Under my horrified gaze, Tang Ninh picked up a brick and struck at the puppy's paw. The tiny dog whimpered in pain. She dragged the bleeding puppy in front of me. Do you pity it? Then pity me too. You, born with everything, isn't it unfair? Why can't any of this be mine? Then she clenched my neck, threatening an unseen presence, won't change. I'll kill her. Her bloody, wet hand tightened around my neck, and suffocating pain seized me. Then Tang Ninh laughed. The clothes on her and me had swapped, as if a witch's spell had taken effect, dressing her in a beautiful, clean princess dress while I wore old, blooded clothes, looking menacing. But Tang Ninh was still unsatisfied. She lifted my chin, frowning. Why does she still have this face? I didn't know to whom she was speaking, only feeling fear spreading through my body. I also didn't know what she'd heard to make her frown relax. Change the memories? That's fine, I'm not used to living in someone else's body and face. She circled me, wiping the blood from my neck, then pressed my hand to the puppy's wound. Until my palm was stained with blood, she pressed my hand onto her neck and dress. Then I watched her hold the puppy, crying as she ran out. When I could move again, staggering to seek my parents, I found them hugging Tang Ninh, comforting her. Bao Bao, don't be afraid, we're here. I rushed to call them but was scolded and repelled. Get away from my daughter. Dad, Mom, I am your daughter. I cried until my eyes were sore, my body shaking. but they seemed not to hear, looking at me with disgust. I turned to pull Ta Tham, hoping he would tell them I was Nhan Nhan. But Ta Tham avoided me, looking at me with cold, unfamiliar eyes. I cried out, "I'm Nhan Nhan, why doesn't anyone recognize me?" I wanted to pull Tang Ninh away from my mother's arms, but was restrained by the orphanage director. I watched as the director apologized to my parents, apologizing to Tang Ninh impersonating me. Tang Ninh raised her head from my mother's arms, pointing at me fearfully. "She's crazy, she abuses animals," and tried to choke me. My father quickly negotiated with the director to have me treated early, saying it was too dangerous for me to stay with the other kids. The director agreed, apologetically escorting them away. I was forgotten there, completely abandoned. Watching their retreating silhouettes, I struggled forward. Tears fell freely. "Dad, Mom, take me with you. I am Nhan Nhan, don't leave me here." But my desperate cries were unnoticed by them. Only Ta Tham turned once to look back at me. I immediately cried out, "Ta Tham, I'm Nhan Nhan." He frowned, turning again at Tang Nin's call. The director scolded, "Tang Ninh, haven't you caused enough trouble?" "I'm not Tang Ninh. I'm Diep Hoan Nhan. I'm Diep Hoan Nhan. Can you stop being insane? You almost ruined today's charity event." Because of my disobedience, my punishment was to be locked in a dark room. But for 3 days, I refused to accept the truth that I had become Tang Ninh. I shouted and wreaked havoc, receiving only the looks of contempt from everyone. No longer was I spoiled by my parents. They only saw me as troublesome, locking me up for disobedience. Until I finally calmed down. However, I still insisted to the director that I was Diep Hoan Nhan and begged to go home to find my parents. The director, overwhelmed, eventually sent me to a mental hospital in the neighboring province. There, under strict management, I had no chance to escape. Later, I finally settled down, no longer asserting myself as Diep Hoan Nhan but accepting a life and status that were not mine. Until I was finally deemed mentally stable, gaining a little precious freedom and the chance to study. 10 years passed, and I never forgot my true identity, nor did I forget to study. I passed the university entrance exam in Jing City, completely escaping my cage. But I never spent a day forgetting who I truly was, determined to find my family again. Upon meeting Ta Tham again at the university, I marveled at fate's favor. Recognizing him wasn't difficult. He was the school heartthrob, a top student, a paragon born under fortunate stars. Meanwhile, Tang Ninh stood by his side, with my name and background, becoming an object of admiration and pursuit. Wherever they went, all eyes followed. Just now, like on other days, people parted to let them pass, leaving me standing stunned, tear-filled eyes staring at Ta Tham. The blurry face in memory became clearer, his cold brows and beautiful eyes magnified, incomparably beautiful. "Ta Tham, I'm..." He interrupted with a frown and cold voice, "Move aside." I reached to tug his sleeve, but he simply sidestepped, eyes filled with irritation at my blocking his way. However, Tang Ninh glanced at me, smiling though her eyes were chilly. "Classmate, Ta Tham is mine." Her voice wasn't too loud or too soft, just enough for others to hear. Ta Tham had gone far, with Tang Ninh hurrying after him. "Tham, wait for me." The surrounding classmates had various reactions: amusement, curiosity, disdain. I ignored it all. Now, my only link to Ta Tham. I had visited my family's old address, only to find they had moved. I even went to the company, but found no chance to approach them. Recent news said they had gone abroad for business negotiations, further gaps in meeting them. Therefore, my only hope was for Ta Tham to recognize me. After inquiring about his schedule, I sat in on his classes whenever I could. I left notes for him, asserting I was Nhan Nhan, but he looked me in the eye with a blank paper. His cold voice, "I don't have time for these childish games with you." Clearly, I had written on it, yet the words vanished. Suppressing a sob, I spoke, "I'm not joking, I am Nhan Nhan, Diep Hoan Nhan, we grew up together." "What are you talking about?" I froze, tears streaming down. Tang Ninh stood behind him, mocking me while grinning. As I had experienced as a child, they neither heard nor saw my pleas. But I didn't give up, repeatedly testing. Conveying messages to Ta Tham through others. Block him when Tang Ninh wasn't around to reveal the truth. Yet, with that exception, it was futile. I even tried changing my name, officially filing it as Diep Hoan Nhan. Blocking Ta Tham at the men's restroom entrance, I eagerly declared, "Ta Tham, I am Diep Hoan Nhan." Presenting my ID in his face, repeatedly pointing at the characters. But he asserted, "Tang Ninh, I don't know you, nor am I who you're seeking." Quickly, I became a bothersome presence among classmates. Firstly, for changing my name to Diep Hoan Nhan. Secondly, for persistently pestering Ta Tham. Those enjoying the spectacle could easily discover my past in the orphanage and mental hospital. Thus, they labeled me a lunatic, unfit to be outside, posing a danger. Calling me a copycat, shamelessly eyeing someone else's boyfriend. I was bullied. Campus posts filled with photos of my life in a mental hospital. They ridiculed that changing my name didn't change my fate. Deriding my audacity to pursue Ta Tham. However, those posts were swiftly deleted. The forum administrator issued a statement outlining severe penalties for slander. Some persistent individuals, fabricating my medical history eloquently, incited peers to expel me. But swiftly, their posts were deleted, accounts closed, personal details exposed. Finally, the forum calmed down. Yet public curiosity persisted in digging into my personal information. They treated me as a virus. Wherever I appeared, others dispersed immediately. In the cafeteria, even if seating was scarce, no one chose to sit around me. I tried ignoring whispers and disdainful glances, but tears welled up. Ultimately, who's truly insane? I'm the one who lost everything, the one whose life was stolen. The one who spent a decade in a mental hospital, lonely and abandoned, was still me. Clearly, Tang Ninh was the thief yet revered as a beloved gem. Tears brimmed, I struggled to hold them back. Yet, with a sudden clatter beside me, I surprisedly raised my head. Ta Tham's handsome face filled my vision, my heart thumping. My lashes trembled, and the tears fell. His brows slightly furrowed, he handed me a handkerchief. The surrounding atmosphere abruptly hushed. "Ta Tham, are you?" I wanted to ask if he recognized me. He tucked the handkerchief into my hand, indifferently stating, "No talking while eating." Just to stay near Ta Tham a little longer, I ate slowly. Ta Tham, elegant and composed, also ate slowly. In the days following, I encountered Ta Tham in the cafeteria consistently. Morning or evening, we'd be seated neither too close nor too far. We shared no words, yet my gaze instinctively drifted toward him. Occasionally, our eyes met, and my heartbeat stumbled. But recalling his relationship with Tang Ninh, I suppressed those erratic feelings. I found a part-time job at a cafe. Busy, I saw less of Ta Tham. Unexpectedly, he started frequenting the cafe, often spending entire afternoons there, engrossed with his laptop. Previously, he was always alone, with today being an exception as Tang Ninh accompanied him. Yet, witnessing their lack of closeness unveiled, they weren't a couple. Tang Ninh attempted to sit beside him, met with outright refusal. I'm not accustomed to sitting with others. Tang Ninh wanted to taste Ta Tham's coffee, he promptly relocated his cup. You can order your own, I'll pay. No matter how Tang Ninh initiated conversation, his responses were few, his focus mainly on the laptop. Observing Tang Nin's warmth met with coldness amused me. With particular delight, I sent over a dessert from my own funds. Puzzled, he said, "You delivered to the wrong table." I placed it before him, falsely claiming, "No mistake, you're today's lucky customer, this dessert is on the house." Tang Ninh sharply placed down her coffee, eyes like a snake's. "Please remove it, a Tham doesn't like sweets." I smiled confidently, "He does." As kids, Ta Tham loved sharing my candies, strenuously begged from my mother. Ta Tham always asked for the larger share. Whenever I guarded my treats, he'd plead, "Give your brother a few candies, I'll repay you later." "How much back?" "For one candy, I'll return two." Give me 2, I'll return 4. The temptation was indeed great, counting repeatedly, eyes twinkling. Eventually, I saved only 1, exchanging for Ta Tham's candy IOU. This person was proud, never begging adults for candy. His candy as a child all came from me. Thinking of this, I asked smilingly, Ta Tham, when will you repay me for my candy? He suddenly looked at me, his eyes concealing turbulent emotions. Tang Ninh suddenly knocked over her coffee, exclaiming, Tham, my clothes are dirty, can you take me home? Ta Tham gazed from my face to Tang Nin's. After a long pause, he said, let's go. In the days after, Ta Tham vanished without a trace. Rumor said he took time off. I wondered if Tang Ninh had made another move. That rare, hopeful encounter left me glimpsing hope, yet also questioning if it could help him realize I was Diep Hoan Nhan. I awaited Ta Tham but received a visit from Tang Ninh. She folded her arms, poised above me. Submit to fate, no matter how many times you claim, he'll never hear you, you can only be a Tang Ninh. Everything of yours now belongs to me, why struggle vainly? Letting you live last time was your fortune, should you dare snatch him from me, I'll make you die miserably. Her vile face stirred an uncontrollable urge within to slap her. With gritted teeth, I said, snatch him from you? You're the thief. She, however, remained unruffled, grinning widely, leaning close to my ear. How laughable your parents, daily calling me their treasure, pretending they love you that much yet never realizing I'm fake. Tell me, if they knew I used their hands to kill you, would they fall into madness? My palms bled from clenching hard, anger boiling over. Only one thought occupied me, kill her. Like a madwoman, I clawed at her hair, kicking her. Why? Why treat me this way? Give me back. Give me back everything that's mine. Like a feral animal losing control, tears fell freely, unleashing long-held grievances. This scene caught the eyes of classmates, subsequently causing a stir, prompting my parents to rush to school upon their return. Seeing them again, joy and excitement overtook me, trembling as I called them. But they didn't hear, only seeing Tang Ninh. With blood smeared across her face, Tang Ninh feigned innocence and cried to them. My mother shed tears of distress, gently caressing her face. My father, angry, spoke to the principal about expelling me. Their detesting gazes made my heart shatter. Eyes reddened, I yelled, I'm your daughter, she's fake. For a moment, my mother looked at me, tears glistening with a flicker of clarity. Her eyes held confusion, she reached, almost wiping my tears. But Tang Nin's cry interjected, Mom, I'm in so much pain, she tried to kill me, take revenge. Subsequently, my mother raised her hand, swung fiercely at me. Everything silenced, my mother glanced from her trembling hand to me. She stepped forward but was yanked back by Tang Ninh, Mom, I'm hurting. The complex look in my mother's eyes vanished, leaving only revulsion for me. I was expelled from school. My heart broke anew. I had a home yet could not return, parents yet remained unclaimed. With no place left, I crouched, huddling in a corner, rain pouring down around me. Tears mixed with rain, blurring everything. Until someone approached with an umbrella. The rainfall over me ceased. I hopelessly gazed up, seeing Ta Tham, expressionless beneath his cold facade. Without hope, I pleaded, Ta Tham, can you take me home? Ready for rejection, unexpectedly he extended a hand. Momentarily dumbfounded, I asked, do you know who I am? Tang Ninh. His gaze, deep as an abyss, met mine. The brief flame of hope extinguished. Seeing I didn't move, frowning, he pulled me up, didn't you want to return home? Move. Ultimately, my spirit crushed, he took me back to his place. His room embodied grayscale, devoid of extraneous colors. Barefoot at the entrance, rainwater pooled beneath. Hesitant to wear the slippers he placed by my feet. Put on the slippers. His cold tone echoed. Not interested in wearing someone else's. Just envisioning Tang Ninh bringing revulsion. Ta Tham fixedly eyed me, there's no one else. My heart raced. I avoided his gaze, doubting his words. If no one, then why were women's slippers prepared? No need, I prefer bare feet, sorry to bother you tonight. Seemingly displeased by my resistance, Ta Tham muttered, suit yourself. With that, he retreated to his room. Chilled, I pulled his coat closer. I wanted to shower but remembered having no clothes to change into. Embarrassed, I knocked on his door. Ta Tham, could I borrow some clothes? No response. I pressed my ear to the door, listening. Suddenly, the door swung open, catching me off guard as I leaned against his chest, ears hearing his strong, steady heartbeat. My cheeks burned hot. Ta Tham regained composure first, pushing me away, handing me clothes, then shutting the door. The heat on my cheeks dissipated instantly. I knew since young he had a cleanliness compulsion, even avoiding being fed by his parents. Yet I often tucked my half-eaten snacks to him, and he never showed disgust. Crumbs on my dirty hands, sticky sugar markings on my face, clothes I wet, he washed without disdain. Now just rain slick, his avoidance stung. Sniffing, I consoled myself that those were childhood tales. Now to Ta Tham, I'm a stranger, all my small affections delusional. Face washed, in the clothes he lent me, a loose shirt and track shorts, yet hollow within, lacking security. Hesitant in the bathroom, I mentally prepared. Sprinting to the room without detection until tomorrow, when everything dried. Deep breath, open the door, only to see Ta Tham holding undergarments about to knock. Startled, hands flew to shield my chest. Ta Tham awkwardly turned his head, passing me the clothes. Mutually understanding, I accepted, shutting the door forcefully, face blazing red. Once dressed, realizing the fit was perfect, an embarrassing realization dawned. Not sure whether to scold his precise visual judgment or its accuracy. Cleaned up, Ta Tham busied himself in the kitchen, absent-minded. The boiling pot went unnoticed until I alerted him, hastily reducing the heat. You cook now? He glanced at me, initially surprised, then subtly displeased. Who are you talking to? Obviously, I'm talking to you. Why? He glanced, returning to his task. Feeling awkward lingering, I quietly exited the kitchen. Truly starved, unsure if he prepared for me, I could only gaze longingly. Only when 2 bowls were served did I relax. At the table, we sat across, silently eating. I must admit, Ta Tham's culinary skills impressed, delicious indeed. Quietly complimenting, I segregated the spinach stems. Once finished, glancing up, met Ta Tham's intent eyes, heart skipping a beat. Easily, he'd ceased action, watching me silently. His deep, dark eyes unnerved me, and I timidly offered, "It's delicious, thanks." Seeing no response, I rose to clear the dishes. "Let me do the cleaning." "No need for you to clean, someone will come tomorrow." His decisions left no room for dissent. I curled my toes, catching his glance, seeing my bare feet chilled his eyes further. He stood, fetching slippers, crouching at my feet. Uncertain of his intent until he clasped my ankle. The warmth seared my skin. Startled, I gasped, "No need. Don't move." Firm hold, my struggle was futile. Once slippers adorned, I scrambled up and retreated. "Thank you. It's late, good night." Once hidden in the room, heart racing under the covers. Detecting faint scent on the linens, realizing this was surely Ta Tham's own room. Instantly embarrassed. Internally, 2 voices clashed. Feign ignorance and continue sleeping, after all, gone by morning, no longer awkward. Or feign fetching water to re-enter the guest room. But if Ta Tham's cleanliness aversion rejected my occupying his room, refusing to sleep, what then? Deliberations lulled me to sleep. In dreams, familiar childhood scenes unfolded, awakened by cheek-pinching urging me out of bed. Squinting to glimpse childhood Ta Tham, clasping his hand in my habitual pleading motion, "Brother, let me sleep a little longer." The hand retreated abruptly. Unconcerned, I burrowed deeper under the covers. Until an urgent knock disrupted my dreams. Daylight, unfamiliar room, memories of last night flooded back. Opening the door, greeted by Ta Tham's maid urging breakfast. I arose to find Ta Tham had left, learning from the maid he'd departed early, mood sour. Regretting hogging his nest and oversleeping, evidently displeasing him. Generosity allowed me a night's refuge, I couldn't overstay my welcome. Appetitelessly stirring kanji, muddled about future prospects. Then my phone rang from a strange number. Nhan Nhan, I heard you're in Jing City, why haven't you contacted me? Van Viet? You remembered? Where are you? I gave my address, updating him on recent events. He promptly declared his visit. Van Viet was my only friend from the mental hospital. His mother, betrayed during pregnancy, taunted by a mistress, born in difficult delivery of a daughter. Tragically, the child did not survive, her existing depression led to mental breakdown. Institutionalized, she treated me as her daughter, insisting I remain close. During that dark period, Mother Van's rare warmth touched me. Bonding with Van Viet stemmed from there. Frequent visits to his mother led to our acquaintance, thus, gifting and educational involvement followed, adopting somewhat of an elder brother persona. However, following his mother's demise, assuming company responsibilities curtailed his visits. I never expected him to remember, hence no contact since arriving in Jing City. Van Viet arrived swiftly, intending to inform Ta Tham before leaving but, recalling no contact details, left a note. Knowing I lacked a place, he offered refuge with the Van family, which I declined. Simply asking his help to secure independent, safe lodging, intending to rent myself. For Van Viet, this was simple, a single call resolved it. Ultimately, he sympathetically broached my expulsion, admitting with a touch of regret, sorry, Nhan Nhan, if it was anyone else you offended, it would be easier, but offending the Diep family, I can't help there. The Dieps adore their precious daughter, she's their Achilles heel. Ejecting you was the lightest repercussion. I momentarily didn't know whether to feel joy or sorrow. Clearly, that love should have been mine. Van Viet delivered me to my accommodation, a clean and neat room. Simple tidying would suffice for living. Ready to contact the owner for leasing, he revealed, I bought this place, you refuse to return to the Van family, so just settle here. I truly didn't want to owe him, but after much debate, we compromised. I'd stay but still pay rent. Afterward, I tidied up the room, embarking on job hunts. Unfortunately, lacking experience, having just turned 18, securing stable jobs proved tough. Then a so-called talent scout summoned me. Young lady, want to become a star? You have excellent potential, join our company, and we'll place you in the limelight. The spotlight? Can my parents see me too? Naturally, as long as you're famous enough, family can see you daily on TV. This certainly tempted me. The onboarding process proceeded seamlessly, the manager took me to meet investors the same day. But when asked to don provocative attire, led to a private room filled with overweight men, I understood. I had been deceived. This is Director Wang, serve him well and you won't lack resources. The obese, middle-aged man cheerfully called me, Nhan Nhan, isn't it? Beautiful, come over, meet Daddy. Breaking free from my manager, I spun around in retreat. Yet burly men guarded the exit. Effortlessly subdued, they dragged me to the repulsive Director Wang. Do you realize this is illegal? I'll call the police. Gripping my face, he cackled. Behave, stay with me, or my hungry men await. One hand on my face, the other groped my waist. Fear drove tears to my eyes, threatening them, my father is Diep Vien, if you dare harm me, you won't escape. Perhaps my firm tone halted his actions briefly. Nearby, my manager whispered, and he reveled in laughter. Come this far and still don't know whose feathers you've ruffled, claiming daddy over Diep heiress. Since you want a dad so much, why not call me daddy? Come now, good daughter, call me. That sickening visage nauseated my stomach. In desperation, assessing a wine bottle within reach, I smashed it over his head. Pain forced his hands free, his expression altering. Catch her. Today, I'll kill her for sure. Pinned to the ground, Director Wang delivered a harsh slap. Immediately, my shoulders were torn, his voice laden with disdain, feign innocence, as if you've never. In utter despair, the private room door crashed open, reflecting Ta Tham in my eyes. Director Wang faced his relentless pounding. From curses to wails to pleas. But Ta Tham showed no inclination to cease, dark face showering blows, stained with blood. Knocked out teeth, blood flowing unrestrained, his struggles futile, Ta Tham discarded him. Grabbing a fruit knife from the fruit platter, he plunged it into Wang. Ta Tham! Stop! I trembled, shrieking hysterically. The blade swerved, embedding into Wang's hand amidst his pig-like squeals. The remaining room had scattered long ago, door guard subdued by Ta Tham's men. Step by step, he approached me. Strange fear arose from his grim look, backing me to the wall. Gripping my chin with bloody hands, his voice icy, "Who told you to wander? Do you know what this place is? Employing every tactic to reach me, why entangle with other men? Or is this your soft hard strategy?" Already in a melancholic state, his words provoked me further. Screaming at him, "Every tactic to reach you? Who do you think you are? Leave! I want none of it anymore. No more parents. No more Ta Tham." Grinding my jaw, he coldly scorned, "Who then? The big brother you call for in dreams?" Ceasing my struggle, I scrutinized him. He seemed maddened, eyes crazed and menacing. Did I guess right? That's why you gaze at me only to see him? Is he that unforgettable? At that moment, my phone abruptly rang. Pushing against him for distance, he snatched it instead. Displayed the name Van Viet. Ta Tham scoffed coldly, "Speak of the devil. Give it back." Instead, he answered, listening intently before punishingly biting my lip and tongue. My soft moan escaped, struggling under his oppressive hold. Furious, I slapped him, "Leave. I don't need you. You provoked me first. Why should I leave? Did you not see me as a stand-in? Now the real one shows, tossing me aside? Why am I inferior? What makes him unforgettable? Are you mad? What stand-in?" I retorted, confused by his outburst. "Did you not deem me a stand-in for Van Viet? Close since childhood, even in dreams you cry to him, he arrives and you follow. When he took you during the rain, was that not expected?" His words rendered me speechless, calming slightly amidst the confrontation. "Listen, Ta Tham, first, I never made you anyone's stand-in. Second, my dreams about my brother were never about him. Third, under the rain then, I didn't hope to see him. Now, would you please let me go?" Briefly stunned, he seized my arms. "Who was it then? If I claimed it's you, would you believe?" No answer, clearly indicating lack of trust. Turning away, I took back my phone, heedless of him. Van Viet's call ended, returning with a sense of security lost somewhere unattainable. That night, on my bed, I huddled tight. Sleeping fitfully, haunted by nightmares of Director Wang and Ta Tham's fearsome visage. Early morning, rare for me to rise before dawn. Opening the door, realizing Ta Tham had stood outside. Unsure if he'd fought someone, his visage bore faint puffiness. Still resentful, the door decisively shut. "Honey." Trapped hand caught in the jam, his blood-stained palm soaking through. Yet this term twisted my heart. Immediately pulling open the door, "What did you call me?" Even I failed to hide my trembling voice. Abruptly, Ta Tham embraced me. Sobbing intermittently, "Sorry, sorry. I should have recognized you sooner, your hint so clear." The resentment of imposture over 10 years dissipated because of this address, leaving me tearful. Numerous times, I attempted to prove myself the real one. Tried every call, yet none reached him, none saw. Now, finally endowed with identity, I'm Diep Hoan Nhan, not Tang Ninh. The more truth unraveled, the more tortured Ta Tham became. Through his narrative, understanding emerged, inadvertently, his subconscious began rejecting Tang Ninh from the start. Despite self-incrimination, without reason, he disliked her. His distancing didn't escape parents' notice, mistakenly attributing to our relationship dynamic. Little did they know, their daughter had been swapped long ago. Meeting me, instant affinity awakened within him. Yearning to be near, to discover more. Prior anomalous acts and declarations from me planted seeds of doubt. However, uncovering Van Viet in the hospital and learning I referred to him as brother triggered jealousy to wash away previous suspicions. Nevertheless, subsequent happenings intensified curiosities, relentless probing ensued. Finally finding common ground between us. Changes originated the day at the orphanage. Fearful of losing me again, Ta Tham tightly clung. Insecurity rivaled only by my own. That day, he brought me to his place again. Just like childhood, cleaned my face, only stopped short of feeding me. At night, spread a mat beside my bed. Grounded with frequent calls of my name. Annoyed finally, loosely tying our hands with string. Should a tug happen, we could sense each other's presence. Next morning, I awakened restricted from wandering. Disbelief momentarily struck. Ta Tham, what did you do? Fearful you'd disappear again, be patient a while? I'll be back quickly, then no more barriers. Uncertain of his plans, left with no choice. 3 days later, he limped back, gifting a string of prayer beads. Earnestly attaching them, urging removal prohibition. I felt them, then the bruising on his knees. Did you kneel to earn these? Silent, his confirmation sufficed. Inflamed, I hoisted his trouser leg, exposing knee scrapes. Aren't you foolish? Truly believing prayer beads possess such power? True belief generates responses. My hope was solely for your safety, long life. Stunned, tears filled my eyes. Why treat me so kindly? Because we were childhood friends? Silly, obviously because I love you, even when unaware of your identity, drawn by you unhesitant. Moved, I kissed him. Ta Tham, only you hold my heart. Insisting I return to school, revealing he'd restored my academic status. Pressed for details, confessions flowed of his interventions. My slanderous posts disappear because of him. Witnessing my isolation, orchestrated cafeteria encounters. Part-time schedule, deliberately patronized venues I worked. Yet, his possessiveness thought me staring through him at others. In reality, except faces and heights, hardly alike with Van Viet. Yet his mind reminiscent constantly pondered about Van Viet accompanying me. I laughed. Growing side by side might have made you perceive me as sister. Impossible. Any time we'd grown up together, I'd still love you. Who knows? Perhaps. My return makes Tang Ninh restless. If I reclaim Ta Tham, I could regain my parents. Consequently, my return to class saw Tang Ninh as absence. At home, strategizing a staged sleeping pill scenario. Meanwhile, fueling public discourse, I snatched her name, her childhood friend, and such tales flamed hotter. Parents urged Ta Tham to visit Tang Ninh, though refused. Promptly addressing gossip through school broadcasts. My only love remains the current Diep Hoan Nhan. No theft of name or boyfriend occurred. Always single beside her, my attraction came first. From our initial encounter, witnessing her tears grieved me. Her torment haunted me, seeing her close with others stirred discomfort. Should she not love me, I'd tear open my chest, plea her to acknowledge my love, pity my plight. Hence, devoid of theft, she stands there, I love her. His words declared war on the deeps. Enraged, father tore into madness, ere beloved now love-stricken. Beyond anguish, arose fury. In their remembrances, clearly, we once thrived companionably. Hysterical, mother approached me. Unceremoniously flinging a check, demanded I stay away from him. Clutching it, I filled lines of nines. Her smile was suspiciously amused. Realizing yet enlightening her of its weight, for figures stood etched, rigidness overtook her. Childhood family games, my habit meant drawing for. I heard mother label me a selfish girl. Then, for figures were planned, naive, I remarked, when grown, Nhan Nhan sustain us, care for Ta Tham and herself, debts to repay, grant greater funds. Perceived only mere coincidence. Failing with me, focus turned to Ta Tham. Proposing corporate marital ties to his kin. Compared to me, an orphan-born, ex-mental patient, Tang Ninh bearing my identity was society's preference. His parents consented to the business union. Forcing a pretend engagement with Tang Ninh ensued. Defying them had him stonewalled financially. But now matured, self-dependent, he thrived without their backing. Convincing Ta Tham was simple compared to enlightening my parents, lacking opportunities. Not until my father's birthday party did things shift. On his birthday, Ta Tham secured entrance passes. We attended together. At my presence, his disdain palpable, dismissing me outright. The Diep household isn't your welcome mat. I understand and will leave immediately, but hope you'll accept my gift. Presenting an ornate box to them. Both refused. Yet Tang Ninh thrust it aside, barking, "Leave my house." The box landed, lid popped, inside lay a clay family ensemble. Notably, my mother's figure with a mustache, my father's clad in an unseemly dress. Within my embrace sat a clay doll, Big Brother inscribed. Once intended anniversary tokens, preserved away upon reception. Likely relegated for unsightly imperfections. Such limited memories I hoped would spark them. Thoughtful I studied my parents. Observing Tang Ninh, her impulsive aggression turning strange. Kicking them to shards. Rubbish dared gifted. Dirtying my house. Their gaze unfocused. Except I knew, not an ordinary imposter. Curses, who told you to harass? Back to monotony. Her visit disallowed, publicity smeared plans awry. Herself ignored, could I dare question? With her dissolution, I foresaw emptiness in her hollow promises, ultimately limited love. These were hardly delusions, the flaws born interfere merely interventions anew. Clarity defined her shape-shifting desires. Phantom ties slashed premeditated by influences beyond, thus amendment settled little. The interred shell a final price to pay for indulging life's imposter gamble. Ultimately, never kind societal truths imposed these. Initial lessons exchanged time-laden dreams, echoing endless rigid machinations, departing drearinish. Perfect systems can never exist indefinitely if there lacks final cost considerations. Complete realization portrayed her traps to no escape. Yet comprehensive intuition forthwith avows, marred by precariously vibrant learning specifically prompted fulfillment restored truth is precarious. Though henceforth, resiliency bonds support forever rightly placed within community love, spiritedly lifting existence.